All right, there we are. And I'm dropping stuff all over the place, guys, so give me just a second to get myself together here. But here we are. Welcome to the latest episode of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, and let me look over here and make sure things are running the way they're supposed to. Yes, they are. Sorry, guys, I'm all over the place, man. Had a super long day. I was running late. My mom's in the hospital. All kinds of craziness, man. So I apologize for not being here at 7:30. But I'm here now. Let me go ahead and send the link out to a few special people. And then we will get it cracking, man. I think we're going to have a pretty good show here tonight. I don't think we'll be too extremely long. But, Kenyon is going to pretty much, kick off the majority of this show. We're going to talk a little bit about, prospective free agents that maybe we want the Steelers to target. And we'll also, talk about, some of the guys that might be out there in the draft. Kenyon is very good with that, being able to identify talent. So we're going to let Kenyon run away with it in that regard. And then that'll be, pretty much it. I'll look and see what you guys got to offer in the chat. And then we'll be out of here. So again, apologize, guys, for running late. So much going on today. I had some stuff to do around the house. Again, like I said, my mom is in the hospital. Time got away from me a little bit. My wife and I, didn't even eat dinner until about 7:15. So, I apologize I wasn't here at 7:30. But I don't never leave you guys in the cold. We here now, baby. So let's go ahead and get it cracking. So, first and foremost, let's share the stream out really, really quick so we can get other fellow Steeler fans up in here. Y'all give me a hot second to get it cracking here. But how's everybody doing, man? How was everybody's day? Everybody good? Hope everybody's good. Another day that we are breathing, man. You got to be thankful for that, right? All right. So let's get it. Do my quick roll call for you guys who are up in here already. What's up, Michael Garman? Scott C. Toady. Hope I'm saying that, my man. I hope I'm saying that right. Trill Ricky's in the building. Quad Face is in the building. City Boy 100 in the building. Cool C 619 is in the building. My good buddy Kenyon is in the building. Who else we got up in here? My brother Tony. 6 7-time champs, man. I wish we were 7-time, man. Because now we got to aim for that now, right? The Patriots went and did their thing. Oh, man. But, yeah. 17th letter is up in here. Danny Buchanan is in here. Kelvin Colbert. King Guru Lee. And Brandon Yancey. That's who all we're going to shout out right now until, later on in the show. So, I'm going to kick off, man, really quick. I'm going to be very, very quick because I want Kenyon to have, full at least, 15 to 20 for him to do his thing. So, let me just talk about a couple quick things. Steelers made a hire today. And shout outs to Tony for bringing it to my attention. I was unaware of it. The Steelers made a hire. They have a assistant offensive line coach. His name is Adrian Klemm, or Klemm. I don't know how he pronounces it. It's spelled K-L-E-M-M. He will be an assistant offensive line coach. It looks like he has a UCLA football sweatshirt on, according to the article here I'm looking at on SteelersDepot.com. I'm assuming he plays some ball there. I don't know. Maybe not. But basically, let's go through a little bit of his history here. He says that he played his college football at Hawaii and was selected by the New England Patriots in the second round of the 2000 NFL Draft, and he went on to win 3 Super Bowl championships with the Patriots. After 5 seasons with the Patriots, Klemm played his final NFL year with the Green Bay Packers in 2005. After his NFL career ended, Klemm started his college career as a graduate assistant at SMU in 2008. From 2009 to 2011, he was the offensive line coach at SMU and even coached former Steelers tackle Kelvin Beachum. Interesting. While at SMU, Klemm was named the school's recruiting coordinator in the summer of 2011. And in December 2011, Klemm accepted an offer to become the offensive line coach and run game coordinator for UCLA under then head coach Jim Moore during his 5 years at UCLA. Klemm was added associate head coach to his duties, and UCLA essentially fired Klemm in January of 2017 amid possible recruiting tongue-tied there. UCLA eventually fired Klemm in January of 2017 amid possible recruiting violations. That's something interesting to take a look at, because we know the Steelers don't really necessarily do troubled backgrounds. I know with players, but one would think it would be staff as well. So that's interesting. But not going to draw any conclusions. I don't know this guy. I mean, hey, whatever. We don't know what happened in that situation, so I'm not really going to get into that. And I'm sure it wasn't all his fault. I think UCLA was under the gun anyway at that time. I don't know. We'll see. But the last thing it says here is Klemm essentially takes over the job that Shawn Surratt had prior to him being named the team's offensive line coach after Mike Munchak left to become the new offensive line coach for the Denver Broncos. So let's go ahead and give Adrian Klemm a round of applause. Let me go ahead and find it. There it is. Round of applause to Adrian Klemm, man. He's going to be the assistant. And again, sounds like a pretty good pedigree. He played under the tutelage of Bill Belichick, won 3 rings with them, had a pretty decent career. 6 years, for a lineman. That's not too bad. Not, so-so. But then looks like he had some pretty good, solid coaching career. And again, a guy like that being hired as an assistant, in my opinion, it can only help, in any area. And, it looks like the Steelers, didn't want to put all of the brunt on Shawn Surratt's shoulders. They basically say that 3 times. Shawn Surratt's shoulders. Shawn Surratt's shoulders. Shawn Surratt's shoulders. Wow. That's a tongue twister. But anyway, they didn't want to put the brunt of everything on his shoulders and give him an assistant the same way he was to Mike Munchak. So great. And again, I know what you guys are going to say, man. What about Butler? I know. I think we're over that bridge now. We can have our complaints and our disagreements. And let me move my microphone a little closer to me, guys. I'm all over the place today, man. Y'all got to forgive me. But y'all, this is why y'all like it, right? It's live and, in real time. I show y'all the good, bad, and ugly. All right, so next thing to talk about really quick, I'll give my quick 2 cents on some of the guys that I think the Steelers might be able to go after in free agency. And then after that, I'm going to let Kenyon take it away. So I'm looking at a site. I go to this site every so often. A lot of different sites I look at, but this one is sporttrack.com, spelled spottrack.com, SPOTRAC.com. And I'm looking at the available free agents. And the first thing I'm going to look at here is cornerback, all right? And what I'm going to do is sort these guys by age, because you know how the Steelers prefer. The Steelers prefer to go after guys who are, roughly in their 5th, year or so contract, trying to catch guys on their 2nd contract, guys who are not going to demand a mega contract, guys who are worth a little something, but that's usually where the Steelers try to find their, hey, guys between 25 to maybe 27 is ideal. So that's why I'm going to look at this, and do it by age, and we'll just take a look at some of these guys. And some of these guys I don't really know much about, so maybe you guys could tell me. So that kid, Michael Davis, number 43, if I'm remembering correctly, for the Los Angeles Chargers, he's only 24 years of age, and he's expected to be a free agent. And again, we don't know how this thing is going to pan out, guys. We don't know who's going to actually be free agents, who's going to be tagged, who's going to be re-signed, etc., etc. We're basically right now just, early on before it gets started, we're kind of, giving our idea of who could possibly be out there. And out of the guys who could possibly be out there, who would you like the Steelers go after? So I like the kid, Mike Davis, man. I like how he played. He flies around the field. I don't know much about him, but again, using the eye test, he looked like a pretty active corner. I'm cool with that. Ronald Darby is out there as well, 25 years of age. We know Darby has had some issues with injury, so, you got to keep an eye on that. But, if you can get him for relatively decent money, I wouldn't think that he would be demanding a bunch of money, of course, coming off of the injury. So this might be a guy right in the sweet spot that you may be able to grab. And he's showing some versatility, maybe put this guy, another guy that can help out in the slot, or maybe perhaps on the outside. We'll see. I just think we need some corner depth, whether it's a guy that's starting or it's a guy that's going to come in and help out in sub package, put one of those guys in the dime, let them be a dime corner, if you will, like Cam Sutton was doing. Again, we got to look at it from this scenario. Right now, it's Joe Haden and Cody Sensabaugh. So I'm looking for another number 2. Let's see who else is out there that we may be familiar with. They say Mike Hilton is expected to be a free agent. I'm pretty sure the Steelers are not going to let him go anywhere. Excuse me. Let's see who else I'm familiar with. P.J. Williams, from New Orleans, I believe. Maybe a guy to keep an eye on. Steven Nelson from the Chiefs. These guys didn't look particularly great in one-on-one situations. Definitely Nelson. We've seen a lot of times where Nelson was being picked on. But, just keep an eye on some of these names, man, because you know how the Steelers do. Ken Crawley is another kid, 26 years old, from the Saints. Breen Bodie Calhoun, 26 years old, from the Cleveland Browns. He's a rough and tough, feisty type of cornerback. Let's see who else they got out here that I might know. Darquez Dennard, 27 years old, from the Bengals. That's a guy. That's the type of age range, again, and a guy that was kind of high pedigree coming out of college, out of Michigan State, if I'm not mistaken, played with Le'Veon Bell. That's another guy right there. Keep an eye on it. Here's probably the big ticket one right here, Bradley Roby. 27 years old, from the Denver Broncos. We know too much about him and how Ben just threw him the ball to end that game virtually in Denver. That's probably the more marquee guy that we would want the Steelers to go after. And there's a couple of other guys out here, man, that I'm not all very, very familiar with. You got Jason Verrett at 28. Still you're kind of tipping the older scale right there. Similar to what we did with Joe Haden. So I'm looking at guys like preferably Bradley Roby, Dennard. Some of these other guys I don't know. I don't really know Charles Washington. I don't know Tony McRae and some of these guys. So if you guys know them, great. Definitely put it in the chat when we get to that portion of the show and give me your thoughts there. But those are some of the guys that I would be looking at. Breen Bodie Calhoun. These are some guys that we might have a chance. Jonathan Jones, that's another guy from New England. He's, slated to be a free agent as well. So keep an eye on some of those names. Ronald Darby, of course, and Michael Davis, those guys being the younger guys. Now, let's take a look at the other position, inside linebacker. I won't go into outside linebacker so much yet. I'm going to just focus really quick on inside linebacker. And then, I want to get Kenyon on here as soon as possible. So let me choose the inside backers, guys. I'm going to use the same format, looking at the age and things of that nature to determine who I think the Steelers should go after and whether they will or not. Denzel Perryman out of, from the Los Angeles Chargers. If he becomes available, hey, maybe somebody to look at. Quan Alexander from the Tampa Bay Bucks. A lot of us talked about him on an earlier show. That's a guy, too, that you might want to pay attention to on the inside. He can transition from a 4-3 to a 3-4. It's not as difficult for an inside backer to make that transition, So definitely want to look at a guy like Quan Alexander if he becomes available. Here's a guy that I really want to look at. And I was telling Leonard all of the time, man, when we were watching both the Saints and the Rams game and also in the Super Bowl. Cory Littleton. Littleton is not that big in terms of, his actual size, but the way he plays and what I've seen out of him in pass coverage, and I know, listen, he's not the greatest. I mean, what linebacker is the greatest? But the guy flies around the field. He comes in and lays his body out on the line. I've seen him make pass breakups. I've seen him strip the ball. I've seen him get sacks on, blitzing up the middle, which we've become accustomed to doing with our inside linebackers. And I've seen him just being a guy that is pretty much in good position. Everybody gets beat. So I know somebody's going to have a critique about the kid. But for the most part, I've seen him doing what he's supposed to do. That's a guy I would love for the Steelers to at least peek at, if he's available, if the Rams, let him walk. And then you got Preston Brown, from Cincinnati. That's somebody else that could be pretty serviceable. I think I was looking at him and Zach Brown, a few years ago when they became available. C.J. Mosley at 27 years old. It's not going to happen, guys. Let's not expect that. I pretty much feel like the Ravens are going to franchise tag him or re-sign him. So let's not even get our hopes up there. But, man, if we could get a C.J. Mosley, yeah. That's all I'm going to say is, yeah. And then you got the kid, Mack Wilson, man. I'm familiar with him. He's also out in L.A. Mack Wilson is another guy, not the best, but, probably could give us a little better than what, we've seen out of some of our guys, even though his tackles, looks like his tackles were way down in the season. I don't know if he was injured. I don't know if he, became a non-starter or what have you. But if you look at the comparison, I mean, I believe, yeah, they're showing, I'm assuming the site here is showing the prior year stats. Cory Littleton, 125 tackles, 4 sacks, 4 QB hits, 3 interceptions. Again, Cory Littleton, that's my man right there. That's who I want to go after. And then you look at C.J. Mosley, 105 tackles. You look at a guy like Jordan Hicks, 27 years old, but 91 tackles. You know, and some of these guys, they don't have stats on, but again, looking at age and things like that, is not a whole lot of guys that checks that box. Some of these guys I'm not familiar with, but obviously the key guys that are going to jump off of the page for me: Quan Alexander, Denzel Perryman, Cory Littleton, Preston Brown, C.J. Mosley, which I know that's wishful thinking. And if you got to go a little bit older, maybe Jordan Hicks at 27. You know, that's not too old. You know what I mean? In terms of, where the Steelers like to sign their guys. And they might be able to get a guy like Jordan Hicks at a fairly decent price. So keep an eye and ear out for those guys. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and get the good brother Kenyon up in here. Somebody said, any word on Bobby Wagner? Yeah, and keep in mind, guys, I'm just looking at, this site. I don't know how accurate it is. I don't know if they're including everyone that they're expecting. So there could be some guys out there that they're missing off of this list. We're going to continue to have this conversation as we get closer and closer to free agency. So, yeah. Somebody said Clinton Dix. I don't know. Clinton Dix to me isn't the worst. He isn't the greatest. I think, to be fair, we're okay at safety if we're comparing them to a Clinton Dix. And I like I liked him coming out of college, but I'm saying, from what I've seen of him the last year or two, I can't really say it's much better than what we were able to get out of Sean Davis, finally in a position where I think Sean Davis is going to be his best. And I think the kid, Terrell Edmunds, is going to improve. Rookie year, got that out of the way. Let's see if he takes a leap going into year 2. However, I will say this. Now, Verducci, man, I'm going to actually come right back to you and counter my own point. I just thought about this. We definitely need 3 safeties. Morgan Burnett is not the answer. So, yeah, if we could get a Clinton Dix, why not, and see how he fits in that fold. And then maybe we'll have Terrell Edmunds being the dime, backer more so than having Morgan Burnett do it. As we clearly saw, he was unable to run. And, he's an older guy. I'm not beating him up about that. He's an older guy in terms of, your body, guys. I mean, listen, 29, 30 is not old. We all know that. But in football sense, it is. Your body takes a toll, and he stayed injured. So, again, if you could get a Clinton Dix to maybe be more of the strong safety or free, I would rather keep Sean Davis there. I think Sean Davis has some ability there. But, we can get like a 2 safety set where they can play either or. They can flip-flop. And then you get Terrell Edmunds in the dime to be the dime backer. That might work. So we'll see. But anyway, guys, without further ado, let me pull up this Skype machine here. And we're going to get the good brother Kenyon up in this piece. Where we at time-wise? Wow, man, I talk too much, don't I? We already at 19 minutes, so we're going to stretch this thing, man. We're going to give Kenyon a good, solid 15 at least. I don't want to keep the show too long, but we'll let Kenyon close this bad boy out. And let me make sure he is online. Looks like he is, so y'all give me a hot second, man, and we'll get Kenyon on up in here. Just going to check. I'm going to send you a quick message in there, Kenyon, just to make sure you're online before I call. And while we wait for Kenyon for a hot second, man, let me take a look at what you guys got going on in the chat. Honey Badger. Yeah, Honey Badger, what he signed, a 1-year deal? He only signed a 1-year deal, right? I don't remember. But, yeah, all of these guys are in play. What's up, Leonard? What's going on, Leonard? Cecil Clark says we have Marcus Allen play him. Yeah, he's still a young boy, man. There's got to be a reason why he didn't see the field. Let's keep that in mind. We got Kenyon now, guys. So I'm going to call Kenyon, and I'm going to let Kenyon bless us, man, with some some intel, if you will. So let's go ahead and get the good brother on the show. Give me a second.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. What's going on, man? How you been, brother?
How you been, man? How's everything going with you, man?
I can't complain, man. Just hanging in there. You know, things come up all the time, but you know how we gotta roll with the punches.
Yeah. That's what we got to do. That's the way it works. So, but yeah, man. If you want some assessments, I can give you some assessments. Tell you what I'm looking at.
Please do. Definitely with those guys. But even if you want to chime in, man, quickly on some of the free agents, if they become free agents, who you think maybe we should take a look at.
I mean, I'm hoping to get them getting another corner. I'm hoping them to get another corner in free agency and maybe draft a corner.
Yeah.
And then do it that way. Re-sign Mike Hilton. Of the people that's out there, I'm not like super high on anybody. So maybe another slot corner, because I think if you're going to get another eventual number one corner, you probably have to draft that corner. Mm-hmm. Unless we make unless we trade AB, do the crazy Cardinals trade that everybody wants to get Patrick Peterson. But I'm not like, I'm not super high on that, but it wouldn't bother me.
Where you see Ronald Darby at, man? Is he more of a slot sub-package type of corner, or do you see him on the outside?
Isn't Ronald Darby like versatile? Can he play both?
Yeah, he's played both.
Yeah, so if he can play both, I mean, but is he a true starting cornerback?
See, that's my question. I don't know if we ever got a chance to see it.
Yeah.
And where was he at first? Buffalo, right?
Yeah, Buffalo. Yeah, he was at Buffalo.
And I can't remember, to be honest. I hope maybe the chat can help us out. I can't remember. Was he on the outside?
He played outside. He played outside.
Yeah, so I'm sure he has some starts there. I know in Philly I've seen him rotate in different positions, but that's my question too, man, is if we were to get him, are we looking at him as a replacement for Cody Sensabaugh, or a mix between him and Hilton playing the slot, or what?
Yeah, that's how I'm looking at it. I mean, I look at him like, is he a true starter? Because technically he'd be an upgrade from Artie, but probably on par with maybe Joe Haden. And is that what I want? Is that what we want? I mean, right now?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just being honest. I mean, is that what we want? I mean, to be honest, we need a big press man-to-man corner. And,
yeah, we do.
And if you're gonna run man as much as we ran this year, and I'm thinking they're gonna really run man more next year, you have to have press man corners that can play zone. So they have to. Everybody on our defense has to be versatile, because that's the kind of defense they're trying to run. They're trying to run a mixed zone, mixed man, mixed zone, mixed man. So if you're going to do that, you have to get a big press man corners. Fortunately, there are big press man corners in this draft.
Yeah, I believe you're right, and I know in the chat probably will laugh at this. I always have a little bias with them FSU dudes, man. Because I watch him so much, but he did some of the same stuff when he was there. But you're right. I don't know. I don't know if he's a bona fide starter. But hey, if he's probably gonna want some dough though.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't know if we spend it on him. I think if we spend the money, according to the guys that I was just looking at, man, I think if it comes down to the inside backer versus the corner, yikes, man. Maybe corner, because you would hope to get one of those young studs in the draft in the inside.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I'm not looking at it like, I mean, all the draft speculation to me comes down to if they trade AB.
Yeah, true.
That's how I look at it. I look at it like, if we stay at 20, there are certain prospects I'm looking at. If we are able to make a trade, and everybody remember, Pittsburgh's not trading AB inside the AFC, so you can get that out your head. That's not happening. So they're going to trade him to an NFC team. So what NFC teams are in the draft that would make that trade? Where would I send him? Who has the most capital. Technically, the Raiders have the most capital, but John Gruden's not going to trade that many picks for AB because we just traded with Martavis and see how that worked out.
Right.
So that's not going to happen. So if you're looking at it that way, I'm looking at it like, what teams can do that? Will San Francisco trade number 2? I don't think so. Would they trade a second round for him? Maybe. And you have to look at it this way. We need to get a trade to we can get picks for this year and next year. The 220 draft class is way better than this draft class. So you have to look at it like that. They have to look at it like future of the franchise. So I'm looking at it like, do you trade? If we can get AB, you can send them to Detroit. Detroit might make that deal. And they're at 9.
Wow. 9. Oh, boy.
And they're
that
at 9.
Changes everything.
So Detroit might make that deal because Detroit has no number 1 receiver. So you have to look at the NFC teams, Detroit, San Francisco, Minnesota. You know what I mean? All these teams that maybe one player away, Philly. You know what I mean? All these. So that's why I always said from 15 to 20 or 32, that's my range of where the Steelers can get a deal with for AB. Because I just think the bridge is burned. And then with the report coming out today that there was a domestic violence thing that they just reported now.
Yeah,
like,
I saw that.
It's like, come on, man. So, you know, the draft prospects in my mind, I just think like the people I saw, these people I saw so far. I've seen Josh Allen, he'll be gone.
That's a Kentucky kid, right?
Yes, Kentucky outside linebacker, stud.
Yeah, he gone.
He's gone. Devin White. I know everybody likes Devin White, and he is a freak of nature. But is he a playmaker? Because let's be honest, what do we need on our defense? Playmakers.
Yeah, playmakers. Yep.
I could care less about dudes blowing up tackles, looking pretty. I look for like picks and batted balls down and causing fumbles and all that stuff. So Devin White looks like a stud. He has off the field issues though. So they will look into that because I think his first year at LSU got into trouble. His second year got into trouble. So you have to look at it like, is he somebody that the Steelers will invest in? Look, we've had enough headaches. So which prospect is better to me, Devin White or Mack Wilson? Now, I know my man Eli was saying that he didn't like the way Mack Wilson played in the national championship game, but you cannot judge somebody on one game. So if you watch those players, I'm looking at who gets picks, who makes a lot of plays, who blows up plays. And Mack Wilson is a person who will launch. But if you look at his measurable, he does remind you of a little bit slower version of Ryan Shazier. But in saying that, you also have to think about it this way. Pittsburgh doesn't draft Alabama players. So when's the last time we drafted an Alabama player? So,
and I wonder what that is, man. I've often wondered, is it coincidence or because I really thought this year, well, 2018, had he not gone, I had a feeling that we had our eyes on Van Der Esch. Boom, he's gone. And right. I had a feeling that maybe Rashaan Evans may have been it, but only because it was such a need. And seeing that Terrell Edmunds was the pick that, you know, preceded that, followed that, then that to me shows what type of guy they were looking for. I think we would have went maybe inside linebacker because if they were looking for just a safety, I mean, again, I know it's going to sound a little biased only because I got somewhat family ties to him, but I thought Jesse Bates would have been the pick.
Yeah.
If they just looking for a safety, a guy who can roam the field, I just knew I was getting very excited because I was like, oh, wow, this is going to be crazy if they actually draft Bates. And even my cousin's, my wife's cousin, you know, his agent, he said, man, we thought the Steelers was going to pull the trigger. I mean, we met with them several times. So seeing that they went with Edmunds, that let me know that they were looking for somebody to fill that void as a linebacker more so than a safety.
Yeah, I think that but didn't he go before Terrell Edmunds?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so they probably had their eye on him. They met with him for dinner, and then you kind of had a feeling they had their eye on him. But I think once he's gone, then it's nothing you can really do about that. I mean, should Pittsburgh have traded up to get him?
Oh, that's right. Bates went before. They picked before us.
Yeah, right, Cincinnati picked before Pittsburgh. So
yeah,
to me, he was gone. So there was no reason. I mean, at that point, it was over. To me, the prospects that I really look at, like Byron Murphy, who I told everybody about, is his stock may go up, because I'm just thinking combines in 2 weeks, his stock may go way up. Mm-hmm. So if his stock goes way up, he's not gonna be there at 20. You know what I mean? So Byron is Byron Murphy. The people I saw, Byron Murphy, the kid out of Georgia, the cornerback. Two big corners that I think we should keep an eye on is Lonnie Johnson Jr. out of Kentucky, 6'3", 206.
Whoa.
Could get him probably in the 3rd round. He might be there in the 3rd. You know what I mean? He might be there in the 3rd. That's a prospect I would get. And if you trade AB and you have to get a receiver, I told you, the receiver my eye is on. Everybody's looking at these other receivers. I'm looking at Hakeem Butler. I don't know if you saw what I sent you, the link, but
oh yeah.
listen.
I meant to respond to you too. My bad.
No, it's all good. Listen, forget about the catching part. Look at his feet. You know what I mean? Just look at his feet. His feet, his route running and stuff. His feet. That tells me everything. Because he's not like a big receiver that has long strides. It takes him a minute to get it going. You know what I mean? He has like short strides. He can get in and out of breaks, and he's 6'6", and you can get him. We could get, and I'd make that pick in a second. Just like Juju. When people said Juju shouldn't, you know what I mean? I would make that same pick, because why he's not AB? He's 6'6", and that's all you need. And he's fast. He seems like he's fast. It would depend on how he runs from in his pro day or at the combine. If I don't know if juniors can go to the combine, but if he can, how he runs at the combine. But I really like him. I like these other receivers are cool, but I really like him because we have a number 1 receiver. You need another big receiver, and Ben would love him. He would love him, and he could catch. So like him, and then there's another corner, Isaiah Johnson out of the University of Houston, 6'4", a converted wide receiver that almost like the corner we have now, except he's played corner a little bit longer. You know what I mean? And at the Senior Bowl, he did okay. He flashed a little bit, but he may run like a 4.4, 4.5, and he's 6'4". But I don't know if he's a playmaker. I haven't seen many highlights on him. I haven't seen him getting like a lot of picks. But he's somebody I'm looking at too, that you can probably get second day. You know what I mean? Second day pick. You know what I mean? Something like that. But that first pick, like Mack Wilson, to me, he'll be there. Mack Wilson will be there.
Man, you know what? And shout outs again, man, to the people in the chat that informed us. Man, it's just been so long. It's such a trying season. I couldn't remember. Man, Bates actually did go in the 2nd round.
Oh, yeah. Wow, he did, didn't he?
He was the 54th overall pick. Shout outs to Cecil Clark, man, for giving us that news. Yeah. I saw somebody else posted it too. Wow. See? And I guess, I mean, again, we'll never know these things, but it makes me feel like the Edmunds pick makes me feel like the Steelers were trying to fill the in-the-box void of Ryan Shazier.
Yeah.
So I think if Rashawn Evans would have been there, we might have pulled the trigger there. But I don't know, man. We'll never know.
You have to look at it 2 ways. That's why they signed Burnett and then they drafted Edmunds.
Yep.
Because it changed. Because now you can play a dime defense and kind of, you know what I mean, and run it like that and whatever. But if you want a third safety for this year that can help you be multiple in defense, it's the kid out of Florida, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. That kid is a playmaker. Had 2 picks in the bowl game. Breaks up all kind of plays, gets all kind of picks. They say he's not an every down player, but we don't need him for every down. We just need him in our, you know what I mean, in our packages. You know what I mean? In that third safety, you can bring Edmunds down, let Gardner be the strong or the free, or mix it up. So look, man, it's some guys out there that we can really help our squad with. You know what I mean? So And I'm not really too, as far as outside linebacker goes. So as far as outside linebacker go, I don't know if you're going to be able to make that deal. You know, with Bud. Look, we got people we can draft. You know, like there's a lot of mocks drafting, having us taking Ja'Kai Polite out of Florida.
Oh yeah.
He has nice bend, and he looks like he may be a little bit more multiple than Bud is, but it just depends. It just depends on how we look at it. I mean, to me, it's all about the trade. If they make that deal, the draft plays out totally different. If we stay put, it plays out a different way. That's how I look at it, especially with the money that we have in the cap room. But those are the guys I would tell everybody to look at. I mean, and you know, and if Devin White falls, I mean, I wouldn't be mad with Devin White. I'm just saying, is Devin White that much better than Mack Wilson?
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, looking at both of those guys on film, I mean, you're not getting a drop off,
right?
You know, going down to Mack Wilson. So it's interesting, man. It's always interesting to see how people rate and value these players, because as many people as I've seen to say, "Oh, Wilson will never be there," other people saying, "Oh, he will be there." And other people say, "Oh, White will never be there." And I've seen some people say he's gonna be there. I mean, I can't wait till at least the combine, because at least we can, our speculation, we can kind of get a little closer to where we think, you know, we're gonna go. And then when, you know, pay attention to the pro days, you already know how that goes.
And then remember, after the combine, to me, the key dates for us are when the new league year begins. Because if the Steelers make a move at that moment, and really, to be honest with you, they may have a deal in place at the combine.
Right.
They just can't report it. So if they can trade, if AB gets traded, I just think that he's getting traded. If they trade him and he go and we can get like a first round pick for him, or a second round pick this year, a pick next year, and something like that, where we could stack our around where we could stack, it would be better for us, because we have so many issues as far as on the back end of our defense. And I'm not opposed, Simmons, and keep this in mind, I'm not opposed to drafting another D tackle just to have a rotation of guys.
Yeah.
Because as much as I like Cam Hayward, as much as I like Stephon Tuitt, you need a couple of beasts. You know how the Ravens did it, where they were drafting D tackles and people were like, why you keep drafting the same position? You see what it does? It makes them more multiple, and they're never tired on D. You know what I mean? And it helps your defense out, because if you have a great defensive line, you can have bad corners. Even in this era, you can have bad corners if you have a great defensive line. And if we're gonna get a press man corner, which I hope we do, and we get an inside linebacker to go with Vince Williams, and we can play more coverage, that's great, because I don't want Vince Williams on the field in dime situations. I mean, he's okay, but he's not great. And Keith Butler has fallen in love with us covering with linebackers covering receivers, slot receivers. I don't know why he's doing that, but he's fallen in love with that. So if you're gonna do that, you give me somebody like Mack Wilson, who I know can cover, or give me a free agent I know that can do that. That's how I look at it. Those are the prospects that I see have to have that ability. That's why I was giving you and then the kid out of Penn State, the cornerback. What's his name? Amani I don't know how to pronounce his last name. 6'1", 201. That kid that was at the Senior Bowl. Him too. So those are the people that I've seen so far that to me are prime prospect for Pittsburgh, because they have to be man covers guys. That's what we need.
And man, we definitely need. We got to borrow a little bit out of the Patriots playbook, man. I mean, we did it offensively this year when we implemented that little quick semi-smoke screen. But defensively, man, I would love for us to do something that, in my opinion, is genius, but it's very simple, that the Patriots do quite often. You know, having that number one guy that you can put on there, number two receiver, and then, you know, taking your number two guy and bracketing their number one is genius. But I think we do need at least one guy that we have confidence that could get up in somebody's face and press them, you know, bump and run, because we're going to have to mix in man more. And it's interesting when we looked at the numbers. We did run man more than we have in recent years in this past season. But we got to keep doing it because in crunch time, it seems like we still end up falling into those same zones. No disguises. The same blitz with Hilton coming up. You know, it's like we don't do. And here's the thing. And I'm going to ask you, man, because I really want to know, because I know it's all opinion. None of us really know. But what is it with Butler or whoever, Tomlin, if he's calling it, why are we so basic? Like, why can't we at least disguise more than not? We did it in the New England game, and it worked. So why do we always come out and we show people exactly what we're doing? No type of disguising for the most part. And just allow them to pick us apart.
Yeah, we didn't. I think the New England game was the first time I saw them disguise coverages effectively and be multiple. Because you can play zone against Brady, but you got to mix it up. Look, what Wade Phillips did to the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl was borderline genius. Because he was showing them Brady thought it was man and it was zone. He threw the first pick, it was a zone, and Brady didn't recognize that. So if you can do that, it's all good. But I think it's one of those things that you have to switch it up. But our defense has to be able to have that ability, but also play press man. Like you said, with New England, they just pressed man the Rams the whole game and just said, what are you going to do? They were playing cover zero in the game. It was like, what are you going to do? So that tells me everything I need to know. You need press man corners. And let's be honest, I like Joe Haden, but he's 30, how old is he, 31?
Yeah, he's going to be 31, I think.
Look, his press man days maybe, look, he can't be our number one cornerback anymore. He just can't. He's a great veteran. He's smart. But, he's not super fast. He can get beat. So you need multiple. That's why I wouldn't be surprised if they doubled up on corner like they did back in the day when Tomlin got Timmons and when he doubled up that draft. You know what I mean? And people thought he was like, you draft the same position. No, you have to be multiple. Tomlin's into multiple guys being able to play multiple positions. And I think Keith Butler is a flaw in him, which is why I think his defensive responsibilities are getting demoted. Now people don't think that, but I'm like, Tom's gonna call most of that defense this year. Watch. He's gonna call most of the defense this year. Because Bill Belichick called that defense in the Super Bowl. That was Belichick. I know the coach got the job in Miami. I'm like, nah, that wasn't him. That was Belichick. You saw it in the game. He was like, nah, do this. I was like, yo, that's how you have to be. But like you said the other day, the complaining is funny to me. The complaining is funny because it's almost like Belichick, you're in the era where you're playing Vince Lombardi. That's what era we're in right now. So I just think that Butler doesn't adjust well. And I don't know if he's never adjusted well, or he doesn't carry it over to the next game. The one thing the Patriots showed us, Sim, is that you have to be able to adapt on site. That's what the Patriots showed the whole league. You have to be able to adapt on site, which means you have to be in-game changes, play-by-play changes. The Patriots, they just morphed. The Patriots changed after that bye week. They started running the ball. Remember, they weren't running the ball the first couple of weeks. They started running the ball in the second half of the season, and they stuck to the game plan, and it works. So our defense has to become. The Patriots have forced us to become a man defense. That's what they've done. Think about it. Who's destroyed our defense and gotten us out of the zone? Who's exploited it the most? The Patriots. And they did that 15 years ago. Think about that. When Tom Brady first came in there.
Yeah, man. It's very interesting, man. And I'll get your comments on this, man, before I let you go. Because I definitely go ahead and want to wrap it up here soon. But I'm just going to read a couple comments from our good buddy Nays. And again, I'm not picking sides. I'm not picking on. None of that. This is where I get confused, guys, with some of us. And I'm always going to include me in it because we're all fans. So the first thing that you said, I asked you, I said, if you want Tomlin fired, great. Give me your reasons. So you said, first, I don't like the locker room under Tomlin. Number 2, player management. Number 3, play calling. Number 4, time management. I think we can agree with his time management at times is not great. And number 5, his coordinators are not good. Number 6, as per local media, it's possible the reason why they haven't fired Butler. All right, so that's one thing that caught my eye. Now we're just listening to people's opinions. Next thing was, he said, I think Tomlin is a joke all the way around. Everyone who got that job would be just as good, if not better. I think under Tomlin, and the Steelers are a dumpster fire. Okay, so then he says, you said then a couple things you said here. Where is it? Let me find it. You said it's not man or zone. It's personnel and certain zone plays. No Troy, no Ferrier, no Foot, no Clark. That's kind of mixing 2 points there. Is it coaching or personnel? And I'm going to stay right there. When those guys were there, we won a Super Bowl, and we did it under Tomlin. We also did it with Coach Coward. But Tomlin was able to win with those guys. Tomlin took those guys back to the Super Bowl. Him and Dick LeBeau both had, at one time, the defense was 1 overall, number 2 overall, here and there. Here's another thing. You said you feel like that Tomlin suffers. No, excuse me. You said you think Butler suffers under Tomlin. Tomlin is the reason why Butler's failing. I'm trying to figure out, guys, and I'm not being funny, but I'm trying to figure out, where's the proof? I mean, if Tomlin is calling the defense, I don't know if he is or he isn't. I'm just using eye test. Where's his play call sheet?
Right.
Why is he not the guy? I mean, we don't see him, because, you know, for just as many people that say he does do that, I could give you 1,000 people who criticizes him for not taking over. Shout outs to my father-in-law, Leonard. Leonard always feels like, why don't Tomlin step in and do something? So which one is it? And again, we keep saying our defense is atrocious. It's not. Our defense, here's the problem with our defense. We haven't been able to close, and we are too predictable in key situations. You know, and again, if you look at the numbers, when I ran it down a couple weeks ago, we went from being the 21st defense in 2015 to being the number 5 overall defense in last season. And this past season here in 2018, we were number 6. We've actually improved statistically under Butler and Tomlin, have led the league in sacks for 2 years. So again, I'm not giving those guys an excuse. I criticize them just as much as the next man, and I agree with Kenyon a lot when we both feel like, look, man, Butler is just too predictable. Maybe it's time for something else. But we can't act as if the defense is completely trash. When you look around the league, there's a lot more defenses worse than the Steelers. The Steelers just have a problem with being way too conservative and predictable, and not able to close the game out when they need to close the game out. But I don't understand how, again, I don't know for fact, but I don't understand how we could say it's Tomlin's fault why Butler is failing. That, to me, I don't know, man, because again, I say this each and every week. When we win games, I don't hear this. I don't hear this when we win, or when we are 13-3, or when Tomlin took them back to the Super. I didn't hear this. I didn't hear none of that. It's the same coach, same philosophy. And let me speak on the locker room thing really quick. We're talking about 1 or 2 players that have had this issue this entire tenure. Now, would we prefer Tomlin to have the strictest locker room ever? That's preference. But my point is, how can we say it's a locker room problem when there's an individual who's acting like a diva? An individual who has had problems with, not Antonio Brown, speaking of Le'Veon. You know, love Le'Veon, but Le'Veon had problems with weed, just like Martavis Bryant did. These things I don't think you can put on the coach. Josh Gordon just had the same situation. Where was he at? In New England in his later part of his career. I just don't. Again, I'm not saying who's right or wrong. I just don't understand some of these things from a logistic standpoint. Like I don't know. I'm not here to believe that Butler's struggles are because of Mike Tomlin. Now, if you want to tell me that, Tomlin and Butler both are struggling because they've taken over the defense together, I can agree with that. Or if you could tell me that the Pittsburgh Steelers defense and defensive woes have been because of the coordinator, I can go with that. But ain't no way I'm going to sit here and say that Butler's struggles have been because of Mike Tomlin. I could be dead wrong, but I just can't believe that. I just can't believe that. But
well, let me just tell you. Let me help you out, man, because he's trying to. Let me break this down. Tomlin, this Tomlin won with Cowher player stuff is funny to me because Cowher didn't win until he got Ben Roethlisberger. So what are you saying? So he didn't win until he got Big Ben, until he actually got a franchise quarterback. Then, when Tomlin won, when you say it's his players, he drafted Timmons. That was a Super Bowl team. So that can't be all Cowher's players because Cowher didn't draft Timmons. So what are you saying? And then unless you have a viable option to bring in a coach, what are you talking about? He's probably the second or third best coach in the league with all the distractions. And actually, he might be protecting half of these people that you so-called feel is the reason. AB has been messing up for a while. The incident in the locker room after the game doing the Facebook stuff told you everything you need to know about AB. His personal trainer, who he grew up with, didn't want to work with him anymore. So that tells you right there, he's an issue. Le'Veon Bell, issue. Smokes weed his, second year in the league with LeGarrette Blount. LeGarrette Blount, an issue. There's only one place those players don't act up, and if they do act up, they get cut. New England. So if you say get anyone's not going to help you. If you keep firing coaches, you will never win. So he's one of the best coaches on the market. You let him go, per you, Niles, let him go. He'll get picked up the next day, head coach somewhere.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, I got thick skin, man. The name calling and stuff don't bother me. The Tomlin apologies. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and try to explain. You got your opinion, I got mine. I just encourage everybody to try to use logic when forming opinions. And with anything, just life. That's just a life jewel. And I don't know, you could be older than me. I don't know. I'm just saying, I try to use logic. Yes, I'm a diehard fan, a hardcore fan, but I'm a Steeler fan. Whoever the coach is, I loved Bill Cowher. That's why it cracks me up, and me and Tony talk about this all the time offline, when people try to say, oh, you just defended. What? Are you crazy? Do you know how much I love Coach Cowher? Do you know how much Tony didn't really like Tomlin at first because of his love for Coach Cowher? So we're the last people that you could say apologists for Mike Tomlin. We sit right here on the show too, and I criticize Mike Tomlin. Yep. I'm just saying, if y'all think that's the reason why the team, I'm just saying, man.
But it's not even that, Sam. It's almost like it's an irrationality with just how they want things to go. It's like it's irrational. Like you'll say, well, give me anybody, you bring anybody in here, and you'll right the ship. No, you won't. I mean, you're trying to change their culture, because you have to look at it from an organizational standpoint. They've had 3 coaches. 3. Think about that. They're into stability. Nate just said Tomlin was not qualified at the time.
Man.
Yes, he was. He was the hottest prospect coming out. That's how he got the job. Because actually, Wisenhunt was the lead guy. Tomlin's interview was better than his. And if you want to compare, Wisenhunt got a head coaching job, took Arizona to the Super Bowl, and who beat him?
Yeah, I'm gonna take Debbie's advice, and we're gonna move on past that, because the conversation, you killed the conversation when you said the man wasn't qualified when he first got hired. Whether you agreed that he was or not, we talking way back then. The guy who has the highest winning percentage in Pittsburgh history. So I'm just saying, I'm just saying, bro, like, you killed your own conversation by going back there. You better off just saying the underachieving the last few years. That's a better argument. But all right, you know, hey, you win some, lose some. I mean, none of us are right, none of us are wrong. It's just opinion. So we're gonna move on. But yeah, man, this show has went extremely long. We have 55 minutes. I'm gonna definitely let Kenyon go ahead and get his last words in, man. Anything else you think you could throw on us until next week?
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep an eye on those players I told you about, especially when the combine comes around, and we'll have a real good picture of you know, the kind of the prospects that we kind of need to focus on. But you know, I'm really loving Hakeem Butler. Actually, man, I actually might be loving him more than I love Juju. And I'm in LA. I'm a USC dude. That like you a Florida State guy? I'm a USC guy. So if I'm telling you this dude might be the truth. You know what I mean? He might be the truth, and I just hope I hope they have an eye on him. But you know, they didn't talk to Juju before they drafted him, so we don't know who they have their eye on. But that's pretty much it, man. Those players I told you about, Sim, I would tell you to like I was joking with you, do your little homework on them. You know what I'm saying? See a couple of tapes on them, and see how we could, you know, make the team better, man, because it's all about getting the chip, man. That's all it's about. So
that's it. That's why we salty. That's really the reason why.
Yeah, that's what salty. It is. Yep. Yep.
Oh man. But all right, man. Definitely appreciate you, man. You know, anytime you want to come on, I think we're gonna lean on you a lot more, man. Up, you know, through free agency, through the draft, and some more of you guys, man. Like I said, this is a family affair. Don't just let me be the talking head, man. Like, you guys are welcome to come on at any time. Even you, Nays, and let us hear your actual debates. And, you know, we'll all sit here and chop it up. You know, again, we're not finger pointing. I'm not the guy that's going to, you know, behind your back say, oh, he's dumb. Nah, that's your opinion. That's your opinion. I got mine. But we all still a fan, so there'll never be no disrespect from me to any of you guys, nothing like that. Again, I'm just a guy by nature that, you know, me and Leonard have debates about these kind of things all the time. Not Tomlin, I always say the exact same thing to my father-in-law. Look, man, I just try to use logic. That's just how I live. Like, some of those things just don't sound logical to me. And that's why I'd have to say, whoa, wait. But, again, I'm not saying you wrong. None of us know. None of us are in the locker room. I just say, if you look at the stats, you look at the eye test, when we were winning, we didn't hear none of this. It's really just we're all upset at the fact, even more so now that New England has 6 rings as well. And that's why everybody is on edge saying how bad of a coach the man is. I mean, if you want to change, great. He's been there for years upon years, but I'm not going to let nobody sit there and say that he's not the right guy. He wasn't the right guy, and he's not a good coach. That's just crazy. But all right, man.
Then just make this one point for that last thing. You know, we salty because they got their 6, and I've been joking around. I was like, we all lived in the same community, except we had the biggest house on the block. You know what I mean? We were chilling. We had the two-car garage. We was chilling, and people were looking at our block. You know, Dallas was on our block, but they got 5. They're down the street. You know what I mean? San Francisco, New England had 5. Now they just bought the house next door to us, so we all pissed. That's just the reality. You know what I mean? They taking some of our land. You know what I mean? Now they can move their kids in. You know what I mean? And they're really in a position to move up and get another house. So you know what I'm saying? So that's where we at right now. So it's all good. You know, we just got to get back and try to get back to the promised land. You know what I mean? We were down before. You know, we were 4 when San Francisco won 5. You know what I mean? And we won 2 more. So it's all good.
Yep. Well, all right, man. I'll definitely catch you for sure at some other time, man, some other show. But of course, man, whenever you want to come on, just let me know and we'll do it.
All right, bro.
All right, man. Take care.
Yep, you too.
So, all right, good people. I'll spend maybe, what we got? Maybe 2-3 more minutes, man. Again, guys, these are just opinions, man. You know, don't get so in your feelings and so emotional. I don't know if Nays is, but I'm just speaking for anybody. Don't take these things so personal. It's just a difference of opinion. It's just, you know, like I saw some of you guys commenting on it and saying that, you know, he may have gone too far with some of his comments. And that's kind of where I'm at too. It's like when you start reaching for straws, so to speak, it kind of tells me, okay, okay, I know where to back out of the conversation. I mean, if we trying to go all the way back to when he got hired, nah, you lose me there. I'm listening. I'm right there with you until we pulling straws now. It's like, all right, come on, man. And nothing can be said about what the accomplishments have been. And again, are there problems? Absolutely. Would I prefer a better record against sub 500 teams? Absolutely. But which I find shocking that most people don't realize that the record is actually better than Coward's was against sub 500 teams. But I'm not here to debate that because I still love Coach Coward. That's my guy. But at the end of the day, man, we have to look at the real problems. The real root of the problem of the Pittsburgh Steelers is they just have not been able to overcompensate, those issues on defense, with the killer bees all them years. We just haven't been able to get over the hump. But we can't erase the fact that while we argue about a certain coach, the guy has kept the ship going straight for as long as he could possibly can. When we looked like we were going to tank the season, we turn around and run off 6-7 win streak, get into the playoffs. We missed the playoffs this year, still at 9-6-1. We were 13-3, a year or so ago. We were 12-4, 2 consecutive seasons. I mean, I'm just saying. We're only upset because we're not winning Super Bowls. And yes, I understand. We should be winning Super Bowls, but truth of the matter is they don't seem to come that easy to anybody other than the New England Patriots. And that's the thing. Everybody is comparing coaching to the best you've ever seen do it, and Bill Belichick. Those are just facts. Those are the facts. They are that team. They have been that team for this decade, just like the Bulls of the 90s. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. We have not been able to measure up to that level of success, that level of consistency on field. There you have it. What's Mike Tomlin's biggest problems? Time management. Horrendous with time management. Horrendous with challenging plays. Horrible. Those are my knocks on Mike Tomlin. Other than that, I mean, depending on how much credit you want to give or take away from him from the defense, I don't know. I'm just saying. He's not the best. He's not the worst coach in the world. He's not the worst coach in the world. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And some people seem to make it seem as if he is the worst coach known to man, and that is not the case. So there you have it. Whatever. Y'all feel how y'all feel. I feel how I feel. We all will agree that we're Steelers fans and we're just looking for the best outcome. But I will challenge you guys and say this. We mess around, and I don't think this is going to happen, but if we fool around and win a Super Bowl next season, I want to hear the same energy. Nays, I will not let you off the hook. If the Steelers mess around and win the Super Bowl next year, I want you to keep the same energy. Just like I'm going to keep the same energy if the Steelers go 0-16. I'm going to be like, look, I still don't think the man is a horrible coach, but then we might need to be, now if he goes under 500 this season after going 9-6-1 and it looks like we're trending down, it's time for maybe a conversation. Maybe the seat gets a little warm. Sometimes you can wear out your welcome. Been there for a long time. Maybe you need to start somewhere else. Who knows? But I'm just talking about today, February 5th, 2019. I'm not there yet. But whatever. But all right, guys. Let's go ahead and get out of here. I stayed on here and fooled around with you guys for way too long tonight. I promise you we're going to get back to the 30 to 40-minute segment come next week. But outside of that, have a great, blessed week, man. Hope everyone's safe and sound. And I'll catch you guys next week for a Terrible Towel Tuesday. Y'all be good. God bless. Catch you later. Peace.